It's time for Media Meltdowns, and Jimmy Kimmel is back after lying about the horrific murder of Charlie Kirk.
We had some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
Although Disney is letting the so-called comedy show return after a week's suspension, some broadcasters are refusing to let his show back on air. Nexstar Media Group, which is the largest local TV broadcasting company in the US, announced that its stations will focus on continuing to produce local news and other programming relevant to their respective markets. What good news. Look, the company says, "We made a decision last week to preempt Jimmy Kimmel Live following what ABC referred to as Mr. Kimmel's ill-timed and insensitive comments at a critical time in our national discourse. We stand by that decision, pending assurance that all parties are committed to fostering an environment of respectful, constructive dialogue in the markets that we serve." And this also comes after Sinclair, the broadcasting company that makes up America's largest ABC affiliate groups, announced that it would be preempting Jimmy Kimmel Live across ABC affiliate stations and replacing it with news programming. And you know what? They know that the audience has had enough of Jimmy Kimmel. Let's just look back at some of his comedy content. Here he is celebrating when they tried to censor Donald Trump.
Trump has been suspended from Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and even Snapchat. But don't worry, Mr. President, there are still plenty of apps you do have access to. You still have Spotify to drown out the sound of millions of people cheering as you leave. You still have Pet Finder since you're on the outs with Mike Pence. You have Cameo, which will soon be your primary source of income. You can still play Among Us, a game where everyone accuses each other of being against them. You'd love it.
Yeah, lefties went into meltdown when Kimmel was suspended for a few days. And of course, all the lefties were freaking out about free speech for the very first time. But this was Jimmy Kimmel's message to anyone who was hesitant about getting the COVID vaccine.
Dr. Fauci said that if hospitals get any more overcrowded, they're going to have to make some very tough choices about who gets an ICU bed. That choice doesn't seem so tough to me. Vaccinated person having a heart attack? Yes, come right on in. We'll take care of you. Unvaccinated guy who gobbled horse goo? Rest in peace, Wheezy.
Well, that's aged well, hasn't it? And while the majority of Americans were celebrating Donald Trump's landslide election win, Jimmy Kimmel gets up on stage to cry about it.
Let's be honest, it was a terrible night last night. It was a terrible night for women, for children, for the hundreds of thousands of hardworking immigrants who make this country go, for healthcare, for our climate, for science.
Joining us now is Alex Stein, host of Primetime with Alex Stein. Alex, it's great to see you again, a real comedian. Now, Jimmy Kimmel is back after a week-long hiatus, but he's going to be staying blacked out of dozens of markets after Sinclair Broadcast Group and Nexstar announced that their affiliates will not be airing Jimmy Kimmel Live. This is a pretty major decision. What do you make of it?
Well, what he said about Charlie Kirk, it wasn't that it was so egregious. It was just more about when he said it. He said it at the absolute wrong time. And now that Nexstar doesn't want to distribute it in Sinclair, I mean, obviously that is going to affect his show. That's going to affect him with ABC. But I'm actually kind of happy in a weird way to see a corporation listen to, I guess, their fans, whatever's left of them, and bring somebody back, because I never see anybody uncanceled. But examples of people that need to be brought back are like Roseanne. Bring back Roseanne.
Yeah.
She had a hit show on ABC. If you're going to bring back Jimmy Kimmel, they should bring back Roseanne. So I don't necessarily hate it. I don't like Jimmy. But at the end of the day, his ratings speak for themselves, and they stink. So I don't think he's going to be on the air much longer, regardless of his political views.
You're exactly right. They're absolutely plummeting. Now, of course, we've got to talk about what happened over the weekend. Charlie Kirk, who was honoured at a memorial in Arizona. I mean, it was just so moving to watch, even from here in Sydney, Australia, watching so many speeches, so many moments where they were just giving me chills, especially Erica Kirk forgiving the man who killed Charlie, and watching Donald Trump be such a big source of comfort to Erica Kirk. We also heard from JD Vance. And a lot of people there speaking about this kind of spiritual revival. And I think that's exactly what we are seeing. I mean, it's coming up to nearly 2 weeks since Charlie was assassinated, and we are seeing more and more people feeling called to go to church, to pick up the Bible, and a lot of people having conversations about God and really reflecting about Charlie Kirk, who he was, and of course he wanted to be remembered for his faith. How would you describe the events of the weekend and what we're seeing?
Well, just like how special Charlie Kirk is, the event was incredibly special. And, like they say that you can feel the Holy Ghost. Well, let me tell you something. The Holy Ghost was palpable that day. Like we could feel God in that building. And that's what Charlie would have wanted. I mean, his dream was to inevitably and definitely eventually, eventually and do it inevitably, do a turning point event inside of a stadium. It's just sad that it happened under these circumstances, and it was an emotional day. One second I'm smiling, the next second I'm hearing, a beautiful tribute from Tucker Carlson that's making me sad. So it's just, it was the gambit of emotions. But I don't think anybody that I know has ever had a memorial like that. It was something like I've never seen before in my entire life.
Now, Turning Point has announced that their campus tour, it's not going to stop, it's going to continue. It's unveiled its list of speakers to continue Charlie Kirk's college speaking tours, of course, and campus events. So they're returning with speakers such as Tucker Carlson, Michael Knowles, Megyn Kelly. Now, Alex, we know, of course, it's never going to be the same without Charlie Kirk, but this movement, it's not going anywhere. It's only going to keep growing.
Well, you're exactly right. It is incredible how much support has come out. And obviously, Turning Point was already the biggest organization, but I believe they've doubled in size since Charlie's unfortunate passing. And for me, selfishly, I was worried. I had over 10 colleges that I was able to go and schedule and speak at. And now Turning Point not only wants to do those 10, they want to add some more schools. So I'm actually surprised that, it's awesome, but I'm just surprised that that was the outcome because it was just such a tragedy. Yeah. But I'm not afraid to go out there. And I know Charlie was not afraid to go out there. And I can't, be scared at a time like this. So just like all the other incredible speakers like Tucker and Michael Knowles, who just spoke, and Glenn Beck, it's a real honor to get to go and represent Turning Point USA and what Charlie Kirk built.
All right, Alex, power to you. We will not be silenced, and I'm so happy to hear that you're going to be out there. I'll be tuning in from over here. Now, let's talk about Ryan Ruth. He's been found guilty on all charges. He, of course, attempted to assassinate Donald Trump at his West Palm Beach golf club last September. Now, after the verdict was read, Ryan Ruth reportedly appeared to try and stab himself in the neck with a pen before he was restrained. And FBI Director Kash Patel posted, "Proud of the FBI and our partners for working together to deliver justice against Ryan Ruth, the individual who attempted to assassinate President Trump. We have a lot more work to do to crack down on political violence and make sure those who engage in this heinous behaviour are off the streets and behind bars." And of course, this verdict being handed down less than 2 weeks after Charlie's assassination, there is clearly so much more work to do when of course, you look at what happened to Charlie and the president last year. I mean, there were 2 attempts on his life. Donald Trump came so close to being killed, Alex. What's your assessment now that Ryan Ruth has been found guilty?
Well, I'm happy that he was found guilty. I think that it was obvious that he should have been found guilty. But at the same time, I'm a little kind of skeptical of even having more information about this guy. There's alleged payments from, Ukraine supporting groups and all kinds of conspiracies surrounding him, which I don't know what's true or false, but I just would like to know more information about this guy because we have a radical group on the left that is funded by these NGOs and, allegedly George Soros. Like, where's guys like Ryan Ruth getting paid? Who is motivating him to take such a bold move and try to assassinate the president? Like, I think it's more than a mental health issue, and there's something lying underneath the surface that we really need to identify. And I think Trump's trying to do that by, identifying Antifa as a terror group, but there's more terror groups, there's more clandestine groups that are supporting people like Ryan, and we really need to make that stop here in America.
Now, Kamala Harris, I think we've missed talking about her. She's been on a media blitz, I should say, and she claims that she should have thrown Joe Biden under the bus, a lot earlier in a roundabout way. She said that she had a certain responsibility to tell Joe Biden not to run, but engaged in recklessness because she didn't want to be seen as self-serving. Let's just take a listen to Kamala Harris.
Whose decision should that have been? How should that decision have been made?
So when I write this, it's because I realize that I have and had a certain responsibility that I should have followed through on. Which is, and so when I talk about the recklessness, as much as anything, I'm talking about myself. There was so much, as we know, at stake. And as I write, you know, where my head was at the time is that it would come off as being completely self-serving.
If you said to President Biden that you did not think he should run again.
Yeah, or even that he should question whether it's a good idea.
Alex, to be honest with you, I think I'm a little bit triggered. You know, we've seen so many hours of Kamala Harris doing interviews and doing press conferences, and she's just not making a lot of sense. The long pause, you can see her brain kind of ticking along. And, well, anyway, that was her excuse for not knifing Biden earlier. It's just she didn't want to appear self-serving. Do you buy any of that?
Are you kidding me? You think you're triggered? She was literally almost the president of the country that I'm living in. Yes, I'm triggered. I mean, the fact that Joe Biden was a walking corpse for the entirety of his term as president. And then on top of that, when she was on the campaign trail, The View asked her, you know, what would she change about her term as vice president? And she literally didn't have the gusto, the courage, the integrity to even say we should have zigged when we should have zagged, or, you know, we should have done this a different way. Yeah. So she's a spineless coward, and our country is so much better off that she is not president. And she literally could not even run a concession stand at a youth football game. She obviously could not run the United States of America. Yeah. So talk about triggered. Yes, I'm triggered that people like this, DEI candidates, make it to basically the top level of our government, all because the color of their skin or their gender instead of a meritocracy based on their talent.
Well, Alex, let's trigger you some more. Kamala Harris has continued her media blitz. Here's a bit more of what she had to say.
And right now we are dealing with, as I called him at my speech on the ellipse, a tyrant. We used to compare the strength of our democracy to communist dictators. That's what we're dealing with right now in Donald Trump. And these titans of industry are not speaking up.
Alex, she's had so much time to come up with new material. I mean, she's had such a long time, but she's still running with communist dictator.
I mean, she would love it. If Trump was a communist dictator, she would be so happy. She would be ecstatic. So she's such a liar and a fraud. I mean, she loves Karl Marx more than anybody on this planet, probably. So trust me, if Donald Trump is actually a communist, she would support him and be a part of his cabinet. Donald Trump's the opposite of a communist, and she is using what is called projection because she's guilty of that. That's her brain can't really form an independent thought, so she can only use projection, accusing her opponent or her nemesis of what she truly is. And she's a communist Marxist.
Alex Stein, thank you so much for joining us on Power Hour. Always so much fun to talk to you. Really appreciate it.
Talk to you again soon. Thank you for having me.